Discover the amazing transformation. Heartwarming search for lost puppy in 3 heartfelt hours. Emma had always believed in the magic of a tight-knit community, where every neighbor was a friend and a helping hand was just a knock away. But today that magic felt like a distant echo. Amidst the blooming gardens and laughter of children playing, a storm erupted in Emma's heart when Max, their rambunctious golden retriever puppy, shot out of the yard like a bullet, chasing after a squirrel. Time froze for both Emma and her 16-year-old son Jake. Panic washed over them like a cold wave. Max was more than just a puppy. He was their lifeline to unconditional love in an unforgiving world. "Mom, he's gone." Jake's voice trembled and cracked, holding a raw edge of desperation. Emma felt a fist grip her heart. The weight of unpaid bills and dwindling patience twisted inside her. How could they lose Max? He was their beacon, a reminder of joy amidst their struggles. "We have to find him, Jake," she urged, her voice steady despite the rising anxiety. With trembling hands, they began their frantic search through the familiar streets of Maplewood. Emma's mind raced with thoughts of what losing Max could mean for their fragile family bond. The small apartment, already heavy with unspoken frustrations, felt like it could implode without Max's warm presence. What if he doesn't come back? Jake's voice broke, echoing her fears. Emma grabbed his hand and whispered, "We will find him." The search turned into a whirlwind of emotions, as neighbors spilled out to join them, each face becoming a new ally in the quest for their beloved pup. "I've got flyers," Mrs. Henderson from next door shouted, her gray hair bouncing as she hurried over. Children, once merely silhouettes in their backyard, darted across lawns with posters, calling out Max's name. There was a shared desperation in their eyes that transformed strangers into comrades, spurring the adrenaline of hope and purpose. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As afternoon faded into a warm golden hour, tension unraveled between Emma and Jake. "You just don't get it, do you?" Jake snapped, frustration bubbling over as they searched behind bushes and under porches. Each moment drained them further, the emotional weight bearing down as shadows lengthened. Yet, despite their clashes, each argument peeled back layers of their complexities, exposing the cracks in their communication, and the love that fought to shine through. Just when hope began to flicker like a dying spark, an unexpected guardian appeared. "Hey, you two looking for a pup?" It was Mr. Thompson, the reclusive war veteran everyone whispered about. He approached with a gentle smile and a calm presence that somehow soothed the chaos around them. As he reached into the shadows behind his porch, Emma's breath hitched. There, nestled in the warmth of his old jacket, was Max. "A little adventure, I see?" Mr. Thompson chuckled, the twinkle in his eye matching that of the dog's eager gaze. As they gathered around, laughter mixed with tears as the weight of the day began to lift. Here in their small town, the kindness of a stranger turned a frantic search into a meaningful reunion. With Max's wagging tail signaling hope, a new chapter began, the kind that unfolds only when hearts connect. As Emma and Jake looked at each other, they realized that maybe, just maybe, they had more to learn about each other and the vibrant community around them. What would this experience reveal about their bond? The questions hung in the air as they embraced Max, ready to meet whatever came next. The warmth from Max's body felt like sunshine as Emma pulled him close, his familiar puppy scent wafting through the evening air. Relief flooded through her like a river, washing away the tension that had held her tight all day. Jake knelt beside them, his large hands burying themselves in Max's soft fur, and for a moment, everything felt right in their little world. "Thank you, Mr. Thompson," Emma said, her voice quaking with gratitude. The old man merely nodded, a modest smile creasing his weathered face. "Just returning a friend," he replied. Their eyes met and Emma felt a bond forming there, one that transcended the chaos of the day. With Max happily tugging at his leash, they began to walk home, the shadows stretching long behind them. Jake broke the silence first, a mix of gratitude and vulnerability coloring his words. "I was so scared, Mom. What if something worse had happened? Emma felt her heart twist. Jake's fear echoed her own, and she was reminded of how fragile their world could be. I know, buddy. I was scared too. But she hesitated, searching for the right words. We're stronger together. That's what this whole day taught me. And look how amazing our neighbors were, she added, glancing at the familiar faces who appeared along the streets. They cared. They helped. Jake wiped his eyes with the back of his hand, revealing a half-smile. Yeah, I guess so. It's nice to know we're not alone. As they approached their apartment complex, Emma's mind began to turn over. The experience had been a whirlwind, not just in finding Max, but in seeing their community rallying around them. People who usually passed in silence now feeling like family. It struck her. They had a network, a safety net of people who cared, and now it was time to truly engage with it. Once inside, they settled on the couch. Max sprawled happily across both of them. Emma couldn't help but laugh softly as he snored. A gentle reminder of innocence and joy. Let us adopt a rescue next time, Jake suggested out of the blue, glancing sideways at her but clearly hopeful. Emma paused, a long shiver of thought racing through her. Maybe this was just the beginning. We could help others too. The thought reverberated in her chest, igniting a flame of inspiration she didn't know she had that night. After tucking Jake in, Emma found herself standing at the window, gazing out at the sleepy streets of Maplewood. The streetlights flickered like stars, and a sense of calm enveloped her as she thought of tomorrow, the possibilities, the connections yet to be made. How could they use what they had experienced to give back? Jake's voice suddenly broke through her thoughts, a sleepy call from the other room. Mom, don't forget about those flyers. They might help someone else one day, Emma smiled to herself, her heart swelling with an emotion she struggled to name. You're right. Let us start a project. Now the real question lingered. How far could they take this newfound spark? What would happen when they dived deeper into community love? The night stretched ahead, filled with unanswered questions and a strange thrill of what was to come. Emma's heart raced not just for Max's return, but for something bigger rising inside her. As she turned off the light, the darkness was filled with hope, the promise of change looming quietly in the corners of their lives. What would they discover about themselves and their community as they embarked on this journey? The next morning dawned crisp and bright, sunlight flooding through the kitchen window as Emma poured herself a cup of coffee, the warm aroma wrapping around her like a hug. Jake was already seated at the table, his usual enthusiasm bubbling over as he sketched ideas for their project. Max lay at his feet, chewing on a toy but glancing up every so often with those big, trusting eyes. Okay, Mom, we should start with the flyers, Jake exclaimed, a pencil dancing in his hand. We can put them up all around the park, and even at the community center. Emma nodded, her heart swelling with pride. That's a great idea, but we need more than just flyers. Let us create a plan. We can host a meet and greet at the park, invite families to share their stories, and maybe even get some of them involved in our project. Jake's eyes widened. Like a pet day? We can set up games, have food, and help people find lost pets. Exactly. Emma felt a flutter of excitement. Can be about everything pets and helping each other out. We could partner with local shelters too. They'll be fun and meaningful. As they worked together, laughter and playful banter filled the kitchen. The shadows of yesterday faded, replaced with a radiant energy. With every idea they jotted down, Emma felt the weight of uncertainty lift, replaced by anticipation and a sense of purpose. Their little family was about to make a big difference. Once they had a solid plan, Emma grabbed her phone and began reaching out to friends and neighbors. I'll start a group chat. We can share the details and get everyone involved. Jake's enthusiasm lit up the room. What about Mr. Thompson? He knows everyone. Minutes later, Emma sent the message, and almost instantly replies began rolling in. Words of encouragement, excitement, and volunteering offers flooded her screen. She grinned from ear to ear as she read a message from Mr. Thompson. Count me in. Our little town could use this kind of joy. Look, Jake. Everyone is in. We're really doing this, Emma exclaimed, her voice thick with emotion. As the day wore on, they finalized the details and prepared their supplies. The community gathering was set for the following weekend. It became a beacon of hope, uniting Emma, Jake, and their neighbors in a common cause. Later that evening, as they strolled with Max through the park, everything felt fresh and alive. Children laughed, the sun painted golden hues across the sky, and sweethearts strolled hand in hand. Emma felt a calm settle deep inside her. They paused at a bench watching as Max chased butterflies, his tail wagging with uncontained joy. "You know," Emma said softly, her gaze lingering on her son, "I think this is just the beginning for us. We're not just giving back. We're creating something beautiful." "I can't wait to see everyone come together," Jake replied, his eyes shining with pride. "We're really making a difference." But as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, a sudden thought crossed Emma's mind. What if they took this project beyond Maplewood? What if they could inspire other communities? Her heart raced with the thought, but she tucked it away for later reflection. They had enough to focus on for now. As they headed home under the stars, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was about to take an unexpected turn. What other surprises waited around the corner? Would they find even greater connections in their quest to help those around them? The days flew by, each one infused with a blend of nerves and excitement. As the weekend approached, the energy in Emma's home became electric. She and Jake spent every spare moment preparing. They created colorful flyers, decorated with playful drawings of pets, and posted them around town. Each time they handed out a flyer, Jake beamed with pride, his infectious enthusiasm lighting up their little corner of Maplewood. "Look, Mom, Buster's Bakery said they would donate treats for the meet and greet," Jake shouted one evening, practically bouncing on his toes. Emma's heart swelled. "That's amazing, Jake. And what about the local shelters?" Jake rifled through their plans. "They're all on board too. I can't believe how many people want to help." On the eve of the big day, Emma found herself tucked into bed, staring at the ceiling. The weight of anticipation mixed with a hint of anxiety settled in her chest. What if no one showed up? What if their gathering didn't make the impact they envisioned? Just as she drifted into uneasy sleep, a loud thud jolted her out of bed. Heart racing, she peeked through the window. It was Max barking fiercely at something in the distance. "Max, shh," she whispered, hoping to settle her guardian dog. But as she noticed the moon casting a silver glow on the park, she realized it was likely just a raccoon. Her thoughts, however, remained far from calm. What if they could help animals like Max who needed a home? What if the event turned into something more profound, something that shifted their community for the better? Sleep eluded her the rest of the night as she replayed every detail of the plan over and over in her mind. When dawn broke, Emma felt a new warmth wash over her. The sun peeked through the clouds, promising a perfect autumn day. She hurriedly prepared breakfast, fueled by excitement and a twinge of nervousness. Jake bounded down the stairs, dressed in an oversized t-shirt that read "Pet Heroes Unite." "Mom, look, I want to hand this out first," he declared, clutching a stack of flyers. Emma chuckled, ruffling his hair. "You're ready to conquer the world, kiddo." Together, they set out toward the park, Max leading the way with his tail wagging vigorously. As they arrived, the sight took Emma's breath away. Families were already gathering, chatting, their own dogs in tow. "Look at everyone, Mom," Jake yelled, excitement radiating from him. "They're coming for the puppies." Emma felt tears prick her eyes as she watched laughter and joy fill the air. Suddenly, she spotted a little girl, probably Jake's age, clinging to a flyer. A pit bull mix sat by her side, eyes shining. "Can we take him home?" the girl asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Emma knelt, her heart aching at the sheer hope in the child's eyes. "Let us see what we can do." Just then it hit her. This was more than just about lost pets. It was about families, connections, and second chances. Maybe they could help not just the animals but each other too. As the festivities kicked off, Emma's thoughts drifted. What if this brought something bigger than just a simple community gathering? What if it led to more? Then a sudden commotion interrupted her reflections. A loud bark, and then the unmistakable sound of a distressed howl echoed across the park. Emma's heart sank as she turned to see a frantic family searching. Could it be a lost puppy? Emma thought, her heart racing. She exchanged a concerned look with Jake. "We have to help. Come on." As they rushed toward the noise, Emma felt the excitement turn into pure urgency. Could this be the moment that changed everything? What awaited them in their search? Emma and Jake sprinted through the park, each swift step fueled by determination. All around them, the sounds of laughter and celebration faded into a distant hum, replaced by the desperate whines of a puppy looking for its home. The urgency gripped Emma, her heart pounding like a drum. How could they bring comfort to a little creature in distress? As they approached the source of the noise, they spotted a family, a mother, a father, and 2 children frantically scanning the grassy field. The mother knelt, tears shimmering in her eyes, and the father crouched beside her, whispering comforting words. "Excuse me," Emma called, her voice breaking through the chaotic moment. The family turned, hope flaring in their expressions. "What happened? Did you lose your puppy?" The mother nodded fervently, her voice wavering. "He slipped out of his collar and ran off. His name's Rufus and he's just a few months old. We're so scared he'll get lost. Jake and I will help," Emma said, glancing at her son, who was already grinning and offering a reassuring thumbs up. "Max," Jake called, his voice bright as a bell. "Let us find Rufus." Max perked up at the sound of Jake's excitement and led the way, sniffing every nook and cranny. The trio fanned out, their eyes scanning the park under the colorful autumn trees. Emma encouraged all the volunteers they passed to join in the search. With each call of "Rufus" that echoed in the air, more people joined, creating an eager little army of seekers. Jake ran from one group to another, gathering volunteers like a tiny general. "We need to split up. Rufus can't be too far." The enthusiasm was infectious. Minutes felt like hours as the search continued, each second burning with a mix of hope and anxiety. Emma's mind raced. Maybe this was why the gathering felt special. It wasn't just about finding homes for lost pets. It was about the connections formed by a shared sense of purpose. Suddenly Max paused, ears perked, tail high. He scratched the ground lightly, then darted forward, a clear path forming before him. All eyes fell on the determined dog. "Is that him?" Emma asked, her heart soaring. They followed Max down a tree-lined path, breathing in the crisp air, filled with faint scents of pumpkin spice and baked goods from the nearby stalls. Just ahead, tucked beneath a cozy bush, they caught a glimpse of a small figure curled up tight. "Rufus!" the mother shouted, breaking into a run. Her family followed closely behind, and Emma felt something warm stir within her as she watched the scene unfold. But as they approached, Emma's heart sank. What if Rufus didn't come toward them? What if he was too scared to trust again? With a gentle coaxing, the mother knelt down and softly called Rufus' name, her voice trembling yet soothing. "Come here, baby. It's okay. We're right here." In that moment, the puppy lifted his little head. His eyes met the mother's, the bond they shared palpable, undeniable. Slowly he crept closer. The world around them seemed to hold its breath. The mother's fingers stretched out, and when Rufus finally reached her, a wave of emotion flooded the air. They embraced, tears mingling with laughter, and Jake cheered, clapping his hands. "We found him. We did it." Emma's heart swelled again, but it was more than joy, it was understanding. Sometimes you just need to let love lead the way. As the family reunited, Emma turned to Jake, who was looking up at her, his eyes still glimmering with mischief. "What if we set up a lost and found board at next week's event?" he suggested, eyes shining bright with new ideas. Emma smiled, her heart warming at his vision. "That's a fantastic idea. But what else could we do?" Before she could finish the thought, a yelp echoed through the park, accompanied by more frantic barking. Emma felt a new rush of adrenaline surge as she turned her head, eyes wide. Could there be more lost pets out there? "Jake, let us go see." The excitement bubbled back as they dashed toward the sound, their hearts united in the quest to bring more love home. What awaited them now? Emma and Jake ran towards the source of the barking, their hearts pounding with excitement. The sound grew louder, echoing through the park, pulling them in like a magnet. Other parkgoers glanced over, curiosity sparking in their eyes, but for Emma and Jake, nothing else mattered. "Come on, Max. We can't lose another one," Jake shouted, urging their eager dog to pick up the pace. They dashed around a cluster of trees, and Emma felt a thrill of anticipation. What kind of dog would they find this time? Was it another lost puppy? Or maybe an older dog needing a home? The possibilities sent shivers of hope racing down her spine as they rounded the bend. They saw a small crowd gathered at the edge of a playground. Kids pointed and giggled, while adults murmured softly. Emma squeezed Jake's hand and they hurried closer. Peering through the throng, Emma gasped. A scruffy little terrier with a wild coat was darting around the swings, chasing after a bouncing soccer ball. Every jump he made was filled with joy, and it was almost dizzying to watch. Is he lost? Emma asked the nearest adult, a man holding a steaming cup of coffee. He nodded, concern etched on his face. I think he has been roaming around for a bit. No one seems to recognize him. Emma looked down at Jake, whose eyes were wide with excitement. Can we help him, please? Of course, Emma replied, determination filling her voice. We should try to catch him before he runs off again. Jake nodded, ready to jump into action. Together, they made their way closer to the little dog, who now seemed more interested in the spectators than the ball. Hey buddy, Jake called, crouching low. Come here, little guy. The terrier paused and looked over, his ears perked up. For a moment, he seemed to consider it, tilting his head in curiosity. Emma held her breath, hoping he'd approach. Try using treats, the man suggested helpfully. Emma hadn't thought of that. She rummaged in her pocket and pulled out a small leftover treat from earlier, their sweet scent wafting through the air. Here, pup. The moment the terrier caught a whiff, he wobbled excitedly in their direction, tail wagging furiously. Emma's heart soared. Just as the dog was about to reach them, a loud noise from the nearby merry-go-round made him pause. Wait, no! Jake shouted, but it was too late. The little dog turned and bolted away, darting toward the swings again. Emma felt her heart rake against her chest. Frustration mingled with determination. We need to distract him another way. Jake, can you keep calling him? Sure, Jake yelled, scooping up the soccer ball and rolling it toward the dog. With each bounce, the dog got more intrigued. Emma looked around for help, spotting the family after Rufus. The mother looked anxious but eager to assist. We got this, she said, rallying her children. Together they joined the search, fanning out along the playground. Everyone, we need to work together, Emma called, her voice steady and strong. Let us create a noise. Call him gently. As the crowd erupted into a chorus of come here, buddy, and gentle claps, Emma marveled at how easy it was to rally people for a cause. It wasn't just a search for a dog anymore. It was a moment of unity, an impromptu act of kindness. The little terrier hesitated, glancing around at the growing crowd before cautiously inching forward, intrigued. Emma felt a chilly ball of fear in her stomach. What if he ran away again? Just then, Jake's clear laughter rang through the air as he took a few careful steps towards the dog, softly whispering, "You can trust us." The sincerity in his tone sparked Emma's own resolve. As the terrier took a few more steps, curiosity overriding its fear, Emma felt a wave of hope wash over her. Would it be enough to bring this little creature home? But before she could find out, a shout broke the atmosphere. Look out! He's running! Emma's heart sank again. Everyone's heads turned, eyes wide, as the terrier suddenly darted toward the exit of the playground. Panicked cries echoed, hearts racing as people sprang into action. Stay calm, Emma shouted, knowing they had to act in fast. What would they do next? Would they lose this one too? There was no time to think. Emma sprinted after the fleeing dog, the resolve within her burning bright. Could they save this little one from getting lost, just as Rufus had been? This was no time to hesitate. Emma's lungs burned as she pounded after the little terrier, the sound of pounding paws echoing in her ears. Thoughts raced through her mind. What if he got onto the street? What if he disappeared for good? She wasn't about to let that happen. Jake, follow me. We can't lose him, she shouted over her shoulder, breaking through the crowd. She could hear Max's excited barks, which gave her hope. Jake was right behind her, determination etched on his face as he sprinted, calling the dog's name. Come on, buddy. You can do it, Jake encouraged, his voice carrying over the din of park noises. The terrier glanced back, momentarily distracted, and Emma swore she saw a flicker of understanding in his eyes, but then he caught sight of a bright red ball rolling near the edge of the playground and darted after it, his little legs moving as fast as they could. Emma's heart sank again, but she pressed on with newfound resolve. Forget the ball. Come to us, Emma yelled, her voice a lifeline filled with warmth, reassurance, and urgency. The crowd had started to disperse, parents now herding their children away to other areas, But Emma and Jake were undeterred. "Max! Help! We need you!" Jake called to their dog, who seemed to sense the seriousness of the situation. Max trotted after his young owners, barking excitedly, trying to join the chase. As Emma and Jake reached the edge of the playground, the little dog stopped, circling around as if he were confused, barked loudly as if to assert his presence. "Hey! Over here!" Emma shouted, kneeling down with her hands open wide, the treat still clutched in her fingers. The terrier hesitated, then approached, tail wagging tentatively. Emma's heart leaped. "You're so close," she breathed, willing him to take that final step. Jake shifted closer, ready to scoop up the little furball the moment he came near. Just as he took a step closer, a loud noise jolted through the air, an ice cream truck blaring its happy tune as it pulled into the parking lot. The scruffy dog jumped back, eyes wide, overwhelmed by the sudden excitement. "No, not again," Emma cried, feeling a wave of panic crash over her. She shot a glance around, desperate. The gathered crowd was thinning. There was less chance of help now. "Stay calm," she instructed herself, trying to maintain focus. "Think. Let us use the ball again," Jake suggested, grabbing the soccer ball he had kicked earlier. He held it high and pulled back, pretending to toss it. The interruption grabbed the little dog's attention back. "Look, go get it," he shouted, the ball rolling toward the boundary of the play area. The terrier's instinct kicked in. He took off after the ball and Emma seized the moment. "Now Jake, run to him," Emma cried, feeling the exhilaration and urgency surge. Jake gave chase, his hands ready to grab the pup as he dashed toward the ball. "Almost there," Emma whispered under her breath, her heart pounding like a drum in her ears. But just as it seemed they had a chance, the little dog swung around in confusion, darting to the left, narrowly avoiding Jake's grasp. "Come back," Jake shouted, chasing after him. Emma's heart sank, a bitter taste in her mouth. Was there any way to catch him? But as she watched, the terrier slowed, panting, looking back hesitantly. "Take a breath. Just breathe," Emma said softly to herself, hoping the little dog would calm down. Suddenly a thought struck her. What if we gave him space? Like a draw? Yeah. Let him chill out and want to come back. Jake exclaimed, understanding immediately. "Okay," Emma nodded, lowering herself to the ground, giving the little guy room to breathe. They both stayed still, Max sitting quietly beside them, observing. Would the terrier take the bait? Would their patience pay off? Emma felt hope ripple through her as she watched the dog's small body quivering with curiosity. But was it enough to lead him back? Then, she noticed something miraculous. The terrier took a cautious step forward. The little terrier wobbled as he shuffled closer, eyeing Emma and Jake with suspicion, but also something else. Maybe it was hope. Emma held her breath, willing him to take another step. With every cautious movement, her heart soared and plummeted like a roller coaster. "Come on, buddy. We're not going to hurt you," she whispered softly, as if her voice could wrap around the scared pup like a reassuring blanket. "It's okay." Jake leaned down, mirroring Emma's calm demeanor, letting a gentle smile break on his face. "You're a good boy. Just a little lost, huh?" The way he spoke was warm, filled with unwavering kindness. The little dog seemed to sense it, inching forward again, this time with more confidence. Emma's hands trembled slightly as she maintained her open posture, treat still in her palm. She wanted to reach out, to scoop him up and bring him home. But she knew, even if it felt agonizing, she had to give him space. The ground felt like it shifted beneath her, the tension mounting as she watched the scruffy creature. When he paused again, looking back at them with big, questioning eyes, Emma felt a pang of empathy. He was trying to find his way but was lost in the chaos. Amid the laughter and joy of the playground, there he was, a small soul just trying to navigate a world that felt too big and loud. Max, sensing the tension, stood wagging his tail softly, signaling his support. "Maybe he thinks Max can guide him," Jake suggested, glancing at Emma. "Yeah," Emma nodded, touched by the thought. "Let us see." Max stepped forward, tail wagging even more, approaching the little terrier gently. Emma silently cheered for Max, her heart racing. He too had been a scared pup once, in need of comfort and trust. With Max leading the way, the little terrier mirrored his movements, hesitating as if considering whether to follow or run. The crowd around them grew smaller and smaller, and the only sound Emma could hear was her heart thudding against her chest, the ice cream truck fading in the distance. Finally, he stepped a little closer. Emma felt like the whole world paused for that moment. "You've got this," she whispered earnestly. "Just a little closer." In a sudden burst of courage, the terrier took a leap toward Max, who seemed thrilled. He nudged the little pup gently, as if assuring him everything would be all right. Jake jumped to his feet, a spark of hope lighting his face. "Now is our chance," he exclaimed, excitement bubbling in his voice as he rumbled closer, inching toward the gathering duo. Emma held her breath as the connection seemed to click. She watched as their little lost friend wagged his tail, a joyful bounce returning to his energy. Just as he reached them, Emma leaned forward, stretching her hands. "Gotcha," she exclaimed, but her joy turned to shock when the terrier sidestepped once again, dashing past her and back toward the soccer ball that had initially distracted him. "No," Emma yelled, feeling despair overtake her again. But before she could react further, something incredible happened. The terrier stopped mid-run and turned back, looking at Emma and Jake again. There was a flicker of understanding in his eyes. Maybe he realized they weren't frightening figures but friends trying to help. With one last push of determination, he dashed toward them, right into Emma's waiting arms. She scooped him up tightly, laughter escaping her lips, mingling with joyful tears. "I can't believe it. We found you," she exclaimed, hugging him close. Jake whooped with delight. "Yes, we did it, Emma." But just as relief washed over her, she noticed the terrier trembling slightly, his little heart beating fast against her chest. She felt it, and for a moment, everything felt fragile again. Would he always remember this? Would he trust them after this terrifying chase? As Emma comforted him, a new question filled her mind. What would they do next? Could they really nurture this little spirit back to confidence? But even as the sweet taste of victory filled the air, another obstacle loomed ahead: finding his owner. That would be the real test of love and hope. Would they rise to the occasion? Emma cradled the little terrier tightly, allowing her warmth to seep through his scruffy fur. She could feel his rapid heartbeat, a frantic reminder of the journey he had taken to be in her arms. "Hey, it's okay. You're safe now," she soothed, gently stroking his head. Jake, still on his feet, watched with wide eyes, his excitement bubbling just beneath the surface. "What should we call him?" Jake asked, his voice rising with joy. "He needs a name." Emma looked down, a smile pulling at her lips. "How about Lucky? Because he's lucky we found him, and maybe he'll bring us a bit of luck too." "Perfect. Lucky it is." Jake grinned, the name echoing in the warm evening air. As they stood together, surrounded by the fading sunlight and echoes of laughter from the playground, the weight of responsibility began to settle in Emma's heart. "But what now?" she murmured, her gaze straying to the little dog nestled safely in her arms. Lucky had found them, yes, but he was still lost in another sense. Jake knelt beside Emma, his concern stark against his cheerful demeanor. "We need to find his owner, don't we? That's what we promised." "Right. We can't just keep him without knowing he has a home," Emma replied, feeling a pang of sadness at the thought. Could she really just hand him over to someone? The idea of letting Lucky go filled her with a strange mix of sorrow and understanding. "Let us start by checking for a collar," Jake suggested, gently reaching out. Emma watched as he ran his fingers through Lucky's matted fur, searching for any sign of identification. "Looks like he doesn't have one," Emma whispered, feeling a twinge of disappointment. "It's like he just disappeared." "We can still ask around. Someone must have seen him," Jake affirmed, his optimism shining through. "How about we go over to that picnic area? There are usually families there." Emma nodded, resolve settling in her chest. She took a deep breath, ready to navigate this next chapter. "Okay, let us do it." With Lucky tucked securely in her arms, the trio stepped towards the picnic area. Families were scattered about, blankets laid, laughter floating through the air, and the scent of barbecued treats hung enticingly. As they walked, Emma's mind raced. What if Lucky didn't have anyone? What if he belonged to someone who didn't love him enough? The thought made her heart ache. She hugged him closer, feeling the gentle rise and fall of his small body, and whispered, "I promise we'll do our best for you." Jake approached a nearby family wrapping up their gathering. "Excuse me," he called out, his excitement momentarily eclipsing his nerves. "Have any of you seen this dog? He's a little lost." Before the family could respond, Lucky's ears perked up. He wriggled in Emma's arms, staring intently at a young girl with a shiny pink backpack who was holding a cupcake, half-eaten and smeared on her face. "Hey, he looks just like my neighbor's dog," the girl exclaimed, eyes sparkling with recognition. Emma's heart leaped. "Really? Yeah. I saw him running around the park a few days ago." The girl's eyes lit with hope. "That was just a few days ago," Jake gasped, shared excitement bubbling between them. "He must have escaped." Emma could feel a renewed vigor filling the air. "Do you know your neighbor's name?" "I think it's Mrs. Collins," the girl said, bouncing on her toes. "Let us go find her," Emma declared, barely able to contain her eagerness. Lucky squirmed again, possibly sensing the shift in mood. But then doubt slid into her thoughts. What if Mrs. Collins doesn't want him back? What if he's better off with us? She fretted, the reality of the situation beginning to hit her. She looked at Jake and then at Lucky, who locked his gaze on her as if somehow reading her emotions. What if we find her and she doesn't want him? With this question hanging heavy in the air, they started toward their destination. Hearts racing, hope mingling with uncertainty. Was this little lost pup meant to find his home again? Or was he destined to be part of their family? The line between comfort and heartbreak blurred as they approached the next twist in their journey. The sun climbed higher as Emma, Jake, and Lucky hurried through the park, determination pushing them forward. The potential reunion with Mrs. Collins felt like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters, and yet anxiety nagged at Emma. What if this joyous rescue turned sour? As they approached a modest white house surrounded by vibrant flowers and a well-kept garden, Emma's heart beat faster. She remembered how sweet Lucky seemed in her arms, how his small body felt like an unclaimed treasure. But the memory of his frantic search for safety compelled her to reach out. "Is this it?" Jake asked, glancing at Emma. "This should be the place," she replied, a mixture of hope and fear swirling within her. She squared her shoulders, then knocked on the door, a steady rhythm echoing in her ears. Moments stretched into what felt like forever before the door creaked open. Standing there was an older woman, her face kind yet etched with worry. "Can I help you?" she asked, peering curiously at the three of them. Ma'am," Emma started, her voice shaky yet firm. "We found this dog Lucky running in the park. We heard he might belong to you." Mrs. Collins' eyes widened, filled with a blend of surprise and joy. She stepped closer, peering down at Lucky, who squirmed eagerly in Emma's arms, tail wagging. "Lucky! Oh my goodness! I thought I lost you forever." Relief washed over Emma. This moment radiated joy, and she felt the bond spread between them, warm and palpable. "I'm so glad we found you, but what happened?" Emma inquired, her heart swelling with compassion. Mrs. Collins chuckled, wiping a tear. "He slipped out of the back gate. It's been a few days and I've been so worried. Thank you both so much." Jake's face lit up, pride bursting within him. "We just couldn't let him stay lost," he said, stepping forward as if claiming a victory. Emma looked at Lucky, who was now playfully licking Mrs. Collins' hand. This was what he wanted to belong. After exchanging stories and laughter, Emma felt an unexpected twinge of sadness. Detachment tugged at her heart, and she realized how deeply they had become intertwined in Lucky's journey. Can we visit him? Can we stay in touch?" Jake suggested, a hint of hope glowing in his eyes. Mrs. Collins smiled, gently scratching Lucky behind the ears. "Of course, if you'd like to come over and play with him, I would love that. He loves company." With that simple offer, Emma felt a new spark ignite inside her. Not only had they saved Lucky, but they forged a vital connection and expansion of their tight-knit community that was rich with companionship and love. As they turned to leave, Lucky barked excitedly, a joyful sound that echoed off the surrounding trees, a celebration of connection and perseverance. Emma and Jake shared a glance, knowing that their journey wouldn't stop here. Days turned into weeks, and the meet and greet event blossomed into something remarkable. Word spread and families came together to share stories, laughter, and their pets, creating an atmosphere of joy that resonated through Maplewood. Emma and Jake transformed their project into not just a one-time gathering but a recurring celebration of connection, featuring adoptions, educational talks, and a true sense of togetherness. "We did this," Jake said one day, excitement dancing in his voice as they put up a new flyer. Together, Emma nodded, feeling a rush of fulfillment. Their bond had strengthened amidst the challenges, and they had opened the door to a brighter community. As the sun dipped lower one evening during their latest event, Emma took a moment to breathe it all in. Children laughed, local pets roamed happily, families connected, and Lucky frolicked among them, a symbol of hope and resilience. "Well, here's to new beginnings," she said, raising a cup of lemonade to Jake, who grinned back. "Today is the first day of forever," he replied. And as their laughter mingled with the vibrant energy around, Emma knew they had created something incredible, an enduring force of love that would ripple through Maplewood. Together they had transformed not just their lives but the lives around them. "Let us keep making a difference," Emma declared, resolve shining through her words. "Let us show them just how powerful community love can be." As they watched Lucky chase after a butterfly, hearts full and hope brimming, they understood they had embraced something extraordinary. And this was just the beginning. Now, before you go, this is your moment to join in on this journey too. Subscribe immediately to the channel, so you won't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire us all. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread the love. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming ending, and what it means for you. And don't wait not even one more second. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the power of our community. Let us grow together.